So quitting just because it's hard, I just say you're a pussy and stop. I mean, no, I'm serious. I know.
Yeah.
And that's to a guy or girl. I think in times of discomfort, times of turmoil, times of chaos, times of, when you're under the thumb, if you will, getting the pressure applied, that's when the true character comes out.
Hey there, welcome back to another episode of American Snippets. I'm your co-host, Barb Allen. I am here today with Ray Kashkar. Ray is we're going to get to that. Ray is the founder of Conquer, a leadership and team building program designed to push you physically, mentally, and emotionally so that you can punch through your personal barriers and achieve maximum success. Ray's become a mindset and team building expert. Conquer highlights a 7-principle program that's accessible to all individuals looking to lead and change their mindset to achieve winning results. And he's going to take us through those principles in our bonus question for our members of our mindset group, our mastermind group. From early childhood struggles to earning a trident to years serving as a Navy SEAL, Ray honed a mindset to attack life and master his goals. You might recognize him from TV shows like The Selection on the History Channel, The Ultimate Soldier Challenge on Discovery Channel, or BBC's Ultimate Hell Week. Or maybe you spotted him with Tom Hanks in the movie Captain Phillips, where I hear on the set, Tom pronounced Ray to be the worst actor he's ever seen, but meant it as a compliment, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes too, because it's a fun story. So I got to meet Ray through Jason Redman, who we interviewed in episode 108. Ray also works closely with Bedros Keuilian, who we interviewed in episode 126, and has worked with Max Martini way back from episode 25. So we are so stoked, Ray, to include you now in our American Snippets community. You may be trickling in among the back of the pack there, but I think it's going to be the big charge that blasts everybody out. That's what I'm calling right now.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. This in the apocalypse and everything that's going on. I'm pumped. I love the intros that everybody does. Like, Jason and I recently that didn't sound right. I was going to say we recently did you, but we recently interviewed you. Sorry.
I did you both.
I know. But no, I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Honored to be on here, and let's do it. I'm ready. Let's
do
not
it,
waste
man.
any time.
And like you said, this is, we are in March 2020. You are our first interview during this apocalypse here. And I think if there's anybody we can interview now and whose story we can bring forward to lead people through this insane time. You and I have lived through some insane times in our country. You've lived it, like really lived it, right? But nothing like this. This is a new one for...
Maybe I planned this whole thing out just so I can get in your interview. I'm kidding. Well,
if we're shut down to the apocalypse, we might as well interview Ray.
I love it.
So I got to ask you first, just because I'm curious, where does the cash in your name come from?
Okay. So it was, it's so stupid.
Because, good. Perfect.
It's not exciting. It's not sexy, but my last name is Care. And in the SEAL teams, I've always been Care Bear. When I got out of the teams, I went on to do something else. And I showed up, and the first thing they asked me was, "What's your call sign?" And I said, "Cash." And I said, "Care Bear." Wow. And someone said, "Well, there's already been someone that's working for this organization that has it." So I was like, "Shit, okay."
Really, Care Bear was taken?
Care Bear was taken actually by a woman named Karen. So I was like, okay, So I was working at the time with Jeff Fink and Tom Rochoff, both two team guys. One was SEAL Team 6, one worked with me in another SEAL team. And what you guys didn't know is when I got out of the SEAL teams, they put so much pressure on you to start something new. You're never going to make it, blah, blah, blah. So my wife and I, we had one child. We're thinking about having another. I was nervous. So I hadn't slept in a couple of days. I had to travel abroad. We'll leave it at that. And when I showed up, I had a cash shirt on. And Tom Rochoff, who owns Trident Group now, it's a big anti-piracy company for the SEALs, he said, "Hey, we'll name you Cash." And for the longest time, I could think it was the sleep deprivation. I was like, why the hell are you going to call me Cash? It was a running joke. And like 4 hours later, I like looked down and I was like, oh, and just it sunk in. So, I used to be a little more flamboyant with the Range Rovers and the toys. So that's why they call me the Cash Man. But these days, I should be more of the Penny Man. But yeah, it's Cash. That's how it sunk in.
See, that was a good story. Everything has a story, right? I dig that stuff. All right, we're going to go some generals first, then we're going to circle back to what you're doing now, where you've been, what you've done, because you're one of those people. If we went down every avenue of your life, we'd be here throughout the entire apocalypse. So I'm going to ask you a question first here in terms of quitting. I want to know your take on what's the difference between quitting because it's hard and quitting something just because you realize it's like not right for you. How do you know the difference?
What was the first one? Because I hate to say it. Say it again. What was the first one? Quitting.
The Q word. Quitting just because something's hard, because you're like, oh shit, this is harder than I thought. I can't do this. Or quitting because you just recognize it was a path that's not meant for you, that you're meant to do something else. Right?
Okay. So I like that. So quitting just because it's hard, I just say you're a pussy and stop. I mean, no, I'm serious. I know. Yeah. And that's to a guy or girl. I think in times of discomfort, times of turmoil, times of chaos, times of when you're under the thumb, if you will, getting the pressure applied, that's when the true character comes out. And we'll get back to that. Quitting because something's not like, you want to be a SEAL, let's say, and you get injured. I don't agree. I don't even think that would be the word quitting. I think that would just be redirecting your focus, because let's face it, I started with 138 people, 16 of us originally made it. Jason got rolled to another class. I mean, Jason Redman's one of my best friends. Now, when he left, he got injured. He could have quit. He could have said, fuck this. And he didn't. So my point is with that is I think there's a distinction between the two. Quitting because something's hard, people just need to nut up. And I think you need to be tested. Jason talks about life ambushes, getting off the X. I talk about just people are going to have impactful moments in their life, 5 or 6. They're going to be mortars that go off, and something like buds, something like what we're going through right now. You're going to be tested. It's easy to quit. I mean, and let me rephrase that. I hear it's easy to quit. I've never fucking quit anything. I know that sounds horrible, but
no, I love it. Yeah.
The reason why people quit things when they get hard is because people aren't willing to see what they're really made of, and or they already go into something with an alternative. Case in point, I get questions all the time. Jason does too. It drives us nuts. Hey, Mr. Ray, I want to be a Navy SEAL. What happens if I quit? And I tell people, I don't fucking know, dude. Or
ask somebody who quit.
Yeah. So my point to this is there's quitters and there's failures. I'm so successful. I quit. I fail until I succeed. I just don't quit. I mean, if buds didn't work for me, let's say I broke my leg, I fractured my skull like Cade Courtley. I mean, you can get rolled, but if they finally said you can't do it, I would have just said, okay, can I be a SWIC guy? Can I be a diver? Give me something, just alternatives or, contingency plans to just be the best me I can be. But the people that just throw up their hands and say, fuck this, I got no time for them. And I think people need to test themselves daily. It's part of my, we'll talk about the conquer mindset, but if you're not uncomfortable every day, you're not succeeding, you're stagnant. And I can't stand people like that.
Yeah. Love it. All right. So you talked here about impactful moments and mortars going off in your life. So let's get into it here, because your story, when I dug back, it comes into place, like what molded you and what make you. You had a major impactful moment very early, like from toddler years, right? But a big one when you were 11 years old. Yeah. And I didn't know this about you until recently. And it was like, oh man, this just makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yep. So my father was murdered. My father was murdered when I was 11. He got into a bar fight. From the stories I've heard, obviously I was young. He kicked the shit out of a guy. My father was a good man, but he wasn't a good man. We'll leave it at that. Got a lot of trouble. And he got run over. The guy ran him over and killed him. So from there, I had to go live with my mother, who wasn't, and still isn't to me. We're not big fans of each other. I'm not going to talk harsh about my mother. We just, I think I remind my mother too much of my father, and she's had issues with it. So, I have a sister who's always been like here. And then I've always been here, the TV shows, the movies, it's always like, that's great. Can you help your sister out? So, Barb, the one thing that I've done and the one thing I do is I've just learned how to conquer fear and pain. And how I do that is I came up with an equation, and I told this to Bedros Keuilian. I got to speak for him in front of like 500 people. And he was like nervous, because, Jason went up and like all these incredible speakers. And then I go up there, and true story, I was like half drunk when I went up because of my nerves. But I went up there and, Jason is a motivational speaker and people think I am, and I'm not. I'm in the business of pain. And people go, what does that mean? So I've learned how to profit from pain. So pain equals growth, growth equals power, power equals knowledge, and knowledge equals profit. So all I do is I teach people how to profit from pain: mental, physical, emotional, social, and spiritual pain. So if you've ever been picked on, put down, felt worthless, been abused mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, sexually, I know how to deal with all that because it's happened to me. And all I do is I just teach people for my fuck ups and my failures so they don't do it. And I've learned how to monetize off of it, which isn't the key point. It's helping people, because I define success as helping others help themselves. So I'm very successful because I help other people overcome. I'll use Jason's thing: overcome and conquer their fear. I have to give Jason.
I'm telling him right now. I'm just kidding.
I love it. I love Jay. I got to give him this little plug.
I know you guys are such a cute little couple.
I'm the man of the group, though.
Yeah, I love that. I've heard a lot of tweaks on pain. That's like my area too. I haven't heard the like profit from pain, and I love that because I understand what it means. I think people may like instantly be like, well, what the fuck? He's going to profit off of my pain and like get annoyed at that. And I think those are the people you need to dig into, right? Because
and it's not money. It's not a monetary. Right. It's not a monetary standpoint. Yeah. It's if I can help you. That's why I tell people, I always do a lot of these. I do coaching online and always ask people, when I say success, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What do you think it is? Money. It's not money. Right. I tell people, if you want to be like, the question I always get is, Ray, I want to be a millionaire. I want to make a lot of money like you. Okay. Then help a lot of people. Like that's what Bedros Keuilian told me. Bedros Keuilian is one of my mentors. He goes, you want to be a millionaire, help a million people. Bedros Keuilian helps a lot of people, but and he's learned how to profit off of it. But it's not just from a monetary standpoint. He profits off of people's stories and the legacies that he's building and creating. And then what we tell people is like, listen, like I tell people, you're not alone. People go through life and think they're the only person that's been mentally, physically, emotionally, and sexually abused. And I'm here to tell you, guys, gals, he, she, shims, whatever you are, you're not alone. And we just sit down when I do my online coaching and we just talk about it. It's like an open forum. And the only way that you're going to get these demons, off your chest and out of the closet is to expose them. That's why I came up with the acronym Attack the Hill. People see the hill, which from a symbolism standpoint, it's any obstacle or obstruction that's held them down, beat them up in life. And they walk up the hill or they say, fuck this, I'm not going to even go up the hill. I say, no, head down, charge that hill, get up to the top, conquer that son of a bitch, and then walk down, like you own it, and then get ready for the next one. So that's what we do. And that's what I do.
Yeah. So there you go. You mentioned Pedro. So I got to ask, and I remember when I was out there in California and he met with my boys and he asked me, he's like, have you ever met Ray Care? And I'm like, the name, you're someone whose name I kept hearing like over and over and over, but I'd never like connected.
Because I'm an idiot. Yes.
Right. So at the time I was like, no, but like, how did you wind up connecting? Talk about what you do with him, the project, which I fucking love. I think it's amazing. Okay. So how did that all come into place?
So how did I meet him? Okay. Yeah. You ready for this? This is horrible.
All right. Bring it.
So again, Jason and I were asked to go speak down at a thing called Conclave of Warriors with a gentleman named Rafa Conde, and Bedros was going to be the keynote speaker.
Okay.
So I was kind of like an opening act. I was one of the smaller guys. That's all right. It was kind of like my first or second really big speaking event. This is about 2 years ago. And Bedros and I just met. And, he's a fan of SEALs, and we started talking, and I'm a lot, and he loved it. The minute we met, I talk, I don't kiss, a lot of people kiss B's ass. I don't. And he said, he heard my story about my life and stuff, and we have a whole lot in common. I'll just leave it at that. And he said, "Hey, Ray, when I'm speaking, I want you to listen to like the last 5 minutes of what I'm saying, because it's directly going to relate to you." And I said, "Yes, sir." I do to this day. I say, "Yes, sir," because he demands respect, and he's got mine. So anyway, he's speaking, and I'm backstage with Jason, and I had a piss. And I had just gotten back from an overseas trip, and I'm like in this suit, and I'm huge, and it's got like American flags all over it on the inside. And when he comes off stage, I am literally pissing in a bottle, like right there. So, and Jason just ignores me because that's Jason, it's me. And he comes off and he's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And like, I just put the top on and zip up my pants. And he goes, "You're pissing in a bottle, and there's a bathroom right upstairs." And I told him, and this is what I think did it. I said, "Yes, sir. But imagine if you would have came off the stage." Because when you're on stage, I've learned that you can pick people out. Like, there were hundreds of people. We can see, like, I knew exactly where he was and where Jay was, because Jay gives me key tips and points. And when you're learning how to speak, it's great to have that person. And when he got off stage, I said, "Imagine if you didn't see me." And he didn't say a word. He just went, "Huh, go wash your hands." I said, "Okay." So I washed my hands. And then that night, he said, "Hey, man, you want to get a drink and hang out?" And I thought he was trying to get me in bed, but instead he just wanted to talk to me about life. And we did a shot of tequila, about that, but we did some stuntmen where you snort the salt, drink the tequila, rub the lemon in your eye. And then we went to this funky Michael Israel art gallery thing. He's the guy that like holds shit upside down, paints it real fast, flips it around, and then boom. Yeah. And after that, long story short, B asked me to come out and teach some of my mindset and some of my physical training stuff I do to his company. I did, and I think what sold him on me and his wife Di, which I love, they're like family to me, is I had their 11-year-old daughter. I'm not going to say her name. I don't know if he does that or not, but I had her move a 200-pound log, a square log, not a round log, rectangle, down a hill, defilade, and then I had her move it back up, and I got her the mindset when she got it down there, everybody's cheering. And I looked at her and I said, "Young lady, what are you cheering about?" She goes, "I did it." I'm like, "No, ma'am, you didn't do anything. You got to do it again." So I said, "Come here." And she looked at it. I said, "What do you need to do?" So she looked, she went downhill. She just looked at me and she goes, "Mr. Ray, I have to do what I just did, but do it better." Not only did she get it back up the hill, but she did it faster. And then from that moment forth, B was like, "I want you on my team."
Yeah.
I am dumb, but I'm not stupid. And I said, "Yes, sir." And hence we came up with the project, which we're going to get into, which is a 75-hour fully immersive life-altering course, led by obviously Bedros Keuilian, myself, Steve Eckhart, Aaron Halandrino, and then Matt Schneider. And what it is pretty much, Barb, is all of our fuck ups and failures that we've had in our life. All we've done is we have combined them into a 75-hour F5 tornado. That's what it is. It's like literally drinking. I tell people you're going to consume an F5 because it's destructive, but it's also probably the most therapeutic thing that men to this day can go through. We're getting ready to start our 5th class in May, knock on wood, and we're changing lives. And that's what I love about Bedros and the rest of us. Our goal, our objective is to help. We have other courses that we do too that work with women. We can get in that later. But we are trying to make men what we call modern day knights, opening doors for ladies, attacking the hill, being the person that, that you're proud of, because we work on what I always talk of are my 4 F-bombs: family, fitness, finance, and faith. If you can conquer those 4 things, and faith, I don't even want to get into religion, is the belief in yourself, believing in yourself and your capabilities, and knowing that the only limitation is you are going to be the most productive, effective, dominating force on the planet. And that's what I do is I surround myself. I don't know if you notice it, but I run with the best in the biz. I mean, even Jason Redman, 140 pounds, soaking rain and wet. I'm kidding. He's got more fight in him. I mean, shot 8 times. That's what I do. I surround myself with people and I absorb knowledge from them, and we wring it out on other people, and we're crushing it, loving it. And we're changing lives. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, we got to see the facilities where that take place and just being in the room. He's like, this is what happens in this room. This is what happens out back. What the hell? Right. And I'm like, man, that is awesome. And I talked to him, I've been to events like as a military widow and good-hearted, kind-hearted people with the hearts, like all they want to do is help and all that. But the events that we've been to, I think, have the danger of cultivating the victim mindset and creating dependency on those events. And there's nothing, for years, I've been like, dude, we need something different. We need and there are events that take you to hike up Mount Kilimanjaro. And then you sit at the fire pit and drink wine and talk about how strong you are. Right. Instead of the hike being the beginning, right? The hike is it. Yeah. And so I think maybe, I don't know why, if it's because I've been through that series and I know what it needs. I understand the impact of an event like yours and what it does and why it's designed the way it is and why it would be so impactful. And I think it's unique and it's awesome, man. Are you up? Because I know they're up 75 hours almost straight, right? Are you guys, all of you up with them, or do you take shifts? How does that? Yeah.
No, we don't take shifts because, and there's a couple of things I want to hit on. We don't do shift work because if you're making a breakthrough with someone, I'll give you an example. Let me use it to something you might relate to. Deployment. Okay. I used to deploy all the time. I would come home and try to pick up exactly where I left off with my family. Guess what? If I deploy for 6 months or 60 minutes, things change. So the only way that you're going to be able to change and evolve with the individuals that are going through this process of pain is to be there with them. So they need to see you being vulnerable because we get tired too. We get sore too. We do beach PT. I'm in the water with them, shaking with them and showing them that, look, I am fucking human. Yeah, I was a Navy SEAL. Yes, I love the cold water. Yes, I'm sadistic, but I do it also to keep, like Pedro says, and that's something that I love about him. We do everything that they do because we need to keep our edge sharp too. We're all instruments of what I like to say, progression, because there's no such thing as perfection, but we're always progressing. So we're constantly sharpening that stone. Now, you used a word that I love, and it's impactful. So let me tell you why the project is so much different than a lot of these other courses out there. One, it's not an impressive course like, it's been put on by, a mastermind builder, a guy worth hundreds of millions of dollars and a Navy SEAL. It's impactful. And my difference, I'm going to give you my symbolism of impactful. So have you ever seen these beautiful little light shows at night? They're called comets that come in and they burn up in the sky, right? They burn up. Yeah. It's impressive. It's pretty. You'll see it and they burn up. And what is a meteor? So we're going to get into a meteor. A meteor is an object from space that comes down, and usually it burns up, right? And that's where we get the impressive little light show. But every now and then, this massive hunk of object comes screaming down from the outer space, and the atmosphere can't even burn it up, and it hits the ground, boom, and it leaves this huge impact, this hole that's there forever. And that's what we're kind of doing. And that's what I told B. And what we're doing with the project is we are a bunch of meteors, and we're creating meteors that wherever they go, nothing can burn them up. And that's what's so different about the project is when you graduate the project, that's when you actually start. A lot of these courses that people put on, and I don't want to name names, but they take your money, they put you through this thing, they give you a piece of paper, here's your certificate. Hey, you were trained by an SF guy, a SEAL guy, whatever it is, bye. No, we have a private Facebook page where you have to call in every fucking Friday. And we want to hear about your 4 F-bombs. People get injured or hurt or family members die. We're on a plane going there. It is a brotherhood.
That's awesome.
Just like the SEAL teams. Literally, it's a fraternal order of brothers. All I did was just take what I learned from the SEALs and I added it to Bedros's mastermind training, Aaron's MMA fighting, Steve Eckhart's emotional discipline and boxing skills. And then, Matt Schneider and I do a bunch of CQC kill house work, close quarters combat, teaching people how to enter rooms, not only to be cool, but hey, let's teach you how to protect against home invasion, because when you're home, or teach your wife. So it's a process that's constantly growing like the universe, and we love it.
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about it. I love it.
I know. I can see that. And I love it too. I know it's crazy. It's good. And I think had you guys come into the world of the widows and shook that up years ago, it would have been different for a lot of us, 10 years ago. To have that mindset. So I just have a greater appreciation for it maybe than someone, who hasn't walked that version of a walk. Okay. Where should we go next? Where should we go? There's so many questions.
You have a lot of questions. Let's talk about the ladies, because this is what I get a lot of. Real quick, I know I'm a talker. You can edit whatever you want out. We do run tailored courses for women only.
Yeah.
We just don't label it as the project. We have another company called LTD, Leadership Team Development, where Steve Eckhart and I go to companies, corporations, or groups, and we can focus kind of doing the same thing, but it's not as physical. We can do whatever. It's customizable. We just we did a 2.5 hour beach PT with a crew called HPLT, High Performance Lifestyle Training. They're savages. They had David Goggins train them. Everybody knows. Jesus. Everybody loves Dave, right? Then they had Matt Frazier, who's the world champion in CrossFit. Then they had Steve and I, and I'll tell you what, you can reach out to them. We beat the living fudge out of them because we took them. You know what you're getting with Goggins. I love Dave. You're getting calisthenics. With Frazier, you know what you're getting. With me and Steve, you never know what you're getting. You're getting logs and tigers and bears. Yeah, and they loved it. Now, it was a 3-day event. We don't just show up, do our portion and leave. We ended up doing a HIIT training the next exercise the next day. I showed up there with some of the best CrossFitter HIIT guys in the planet. I'm like almost vomiting, but I told him, did Goggins do this? And I love Dave. No. Did Frazier? Right. No. So my point is I want to show them how it's the only way you're going to grow is being learning how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm great at beach PT and moving heavy shit, but air dynes and rowing and all this crazy shit. I did it. I was sweating like I stole it, but they loved it. And you develop relationships, and we're hopefully going to go back up there in New York. And some of the baddest crew, which I'm getting to, were the gals. There were like 3 or 4 gals that, holy fuck, were they tough. I killed them on the beach, but then, they were like, oh, I want to train with you, Ray. And they, like some world-class athletes on the Airdyne. I am just like, but I won't quit. And that's what we go back. I won't quit. I will not quit. So they loved it. So, all right, I'll shut up. Let's move on.
No, that's okay. I'm working on something for women too. I'll go into that
I know.
later because I want your take on it. But okay, so speaking of women, you are married to I saw her just on your social media, man. She looks like she could kick your ass, man. Like and she's beautiful. So, some women just check all the boxes, right? How did you guys meet? Let's go there. I love the stories of how you met, how people meet.
Okay.
And you've had some good ones so far, so I can't wait. Bedros, you were pissing.
Oh, yeah. Well, this was more, I went, her name's Trisha. She's the love of my life. She's a fucking savage. She's a New York girl. 105 pounds and just solid muscle. I love her. Mm-hmm. But, we met, if you're familiar with anything in Virginia Beach, there's a few bars. And we met, now, for the listeners listening, we didn't meet on a Wednesday night, so relax, but we met at a bar called Hot Tuna on a Monday night in the wintertime when football was on. And true story, I went there with a buddy of mine named Dave Broderick, another team guy, huge. We called him Bigfoot. And a friend of mine named Sylvia, but who was like a little small Asian girl. So Trish is there with her friend. And, at the time she's having a drink and I kind of look around the bar. It's not crowded. And her and I just did this and she did this slow, I call it my look, this slow blink and kept moving. And Barb, I'm telling you this right now. And I mean this with all due respect. I can sell a condom to the Pope. I could talk to anybody. and I couldn't talk to her. I was like, and my buddy Dave, he's balding, size 16 foot. He's heinous. I love him. But I'm like, fuck, I want to talk to this girl. And he's like, go up and talk to her, you pussy. So like after about 30 minutes of me looking at her looking at me, Dave is like 6'5". He's facing me and we're talking. And I'll never forget it. He had this, he's like a professional kayaker. I see this little hand pull in his white, he had a white sweatshirt on, and she's reading it. He turns around real quick, and I had been drinking, and I'm like, she's like, hey, how you doing to him? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I've been looking at you all night long. And she just leans over, and she only comes up to about his belly button because he's so big. And she goes, well, you didn't have the guts to talk to me, so I thought I'd approach this. So I just get the hell out of my way, Dave. And we started talking immediately. It was a little loud there. We went across the street, had a little tapas place that was real, more intimate. We talked. She gave me her number, and the cool points went out the door. She said, hey, I got to get home. I called her like 20 minutes later to make sure she got home, asked her if she'd have coffee with me the next day. And she's stuck with my ass now.
That's good. I love those stories. Aren't they fun to go back and talk about?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, we have a blast. Yeah. And it's funny because with everything going on right now, it's like she hates me because I'm a pain in the ass. I drive her crazy.
No.
Oh yeah. It's true.
Imagine.
But our life a lot where people don't understand, but I've been deployed most of my marriage. So when I'm home, we're on top of each other. She wants to fucking kill me. And we're weird because if I ever start, if something happens more permanent with Bedros, I'm eventually going to move out to California. And people are like, well, wait a minute. What do you mean your wife's not going to go? I'm not going to uproot my wife from her beautiful home, my daughter from her great school. Well, now who cares, right? Yeah. But, and we're absolutely fine with that. Our relationship is so strong, believe me, I need to come and see her here and there and make sure everything's good with, our little quality time, but we're so strong and she's so independent. And that's why I love her so much. But she is just, like I said, a fucking savage. I mean, she motivates the hell out of me every day. So, and when I get down, it's funny because she'll be like, you're supposed to be this. I can't believe I'm telling you this. She sent me this yesterday. She goes, you're worried about the end of the world. You're getting down on yourself. She goes, aren't you the fucking motivational speaker? And I'm like, okay, I'm back, So she's my reality check and I love her. Yeah. So big shout out to Trisha Ann Care. Woo woo.
Yay, Trisha, New York girl. That explains a lot. We're tough here in New York. We don't take any shit.
Yeah, she's a beast, man. She actually grew up in Bensonhurst. That's where they filmed Goodfellas. Okay. So yeah.
Do no harm, but take no shit is the good.
She's mean as a snake.
That's good though. I mean, it's important to have someone, right? In any partnership, whether in work or in personal life, you got to have a partner that can play off of your strengths and weaknesses and knows how to navigate and draw all of that out for a positive purpose, right? Or you're just going to tank.
I always tell, because you got a very huge, your podcast is awesome. I always say, you want to get the real story on a Jason Redman or a Ray Cashcare or a Marcus Luttrell.
Talk to the wife.
Interview the wife because, it's my outlook on how awesome I am and her outlook on how awesome I'm not it's so much fun,
So you're saying if I pinged up your wife and Jason Redman's wife, maybe I could get them to do a joint podcast behind the scenes.
Oh, they do it. I have nothing to hide. Listen, Jason and I will tell you.
I'm not thinking you have anything to hide. I'm just thinking that would be a banging good time, and
being married to a SEAL is like the most awesome thing a woman can ever have for herself.
Oh. I can already hear my friends throwing up in their heads. My SEAL wife friends. Okay. So that's all good shit. What is the last thing that you just sucked ass at that you failed at until you just had to go back at it harder? The last face plant you had.
Ooh, like with work or with life?
Whatever.
Wow.
Last time you just walked out there and smacked that face right into the pavement.
As funny as this is going to sound, when I stopped doing the work I was doing and started working for Bedros, I am not a computer guy. And for the first 3 weeks straight, I was calling him, his assistant, his whole team. And finally he called me and was like, dude, listen, you fucking suck at this, but this is me. He goes, but here's the good thing. Here's the good news. You can't get any worse. So, and I'm serious, but
what you had to do computer work for him?
Computer work. Yeah. I do a lot of like, I'm selling things and helping and meeting people and creating documents and this, and I'm just not a computer guy. I'm the go out. Hi, I'm Ray Care. Nice to meet you. Even though that was my left hand, sorry. And
I wasn't going to say anything.
But I just was so uncomfortable. Yeah. And what you need to understand is since 1992 until about 6 months ago, doesn't matter what I was doing, but everything was related with the Navy and SEAL teams and the same type of work. So for all those years, I was doing one thing, and now I'm in fitness and motivation. And even though, like B says, you're really fucking good at it, I'm really raw. I don't have the computer, the logistical skills. So it literally was B yelling at me going, okay, you're going to watch YouTube for 2 hours a day. And literally as busy as he is, he gave me like these, okay, you're going to learn how to do this, this, and this. I didn't know what the fuck Google Drive was. I'm like, what the fuck is Google Drive? I don't know. He kept going, go to your drive. And I'm like, I don't understand what you mean. And so, but I wouldn't quit, and I drove them crazy to the point where, I've gone out to California, they've sat down with me, and now I'm getting better. And B will tell you, you still suck, but you don't suck as bad. So that's probably the most uncomfortable thing I've had to deal with. And people go, that's crazy. My point is, carrying a gun and kicking indoors and getting blown up and getting shot at and getting stabbed. It's amazing what the mind and the body will get used to because you're good at it versus a little bit of this. Jason works with me too, just because Jason's got it all. It's just like, holy shit. So it was that. It was probably getting into the regular world transition. It took me since pretty much 1992 till 6 months ago to learn how to transition out of the military. So it's been a hard phase out for me because I didn't want to let it go.
Yeah, it's hard, right? You have that purpose that you know what that purpose is, what that mission is, and you got your pack, your buddies around you that you can depend on, and then you go back into the civilian world. Nobody really gives a shit in turn, and I say that, not to be a jerk or whatever, but everybody's busy doing their own thing, and nobody can relate, and the world has been going on without you, and you've been doing all this intense stuff, and then you come home and you're just plopped right into it, and you got to learn to roll, like think on your feet again in a whole different arena.
It's tough, and I've learned, and I hate to dig on regular civilians, but regular civilians just like they try to find the easy way for everything. Like when I had my job interview with B, it was like it was supposed to be at 4:00. I'm standing tall at like 3. He's like, bro, our interview's not for another hour. I'm like, yeah, I know. But
if I'm not early, I'm late, right?
And that's one of the key factors that we teach. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, bye, motherfucker, because you don't want to be here. I mean, and
I knew you'd be early today when I popped.
Oh yeah, I'm always early.
I was like, this fucker's going to be here early. I'm like, I'm going to be ready for him, right?
And you have to. You have to.
You just got to. Yeah, that's how I'm kind of built that way too. All right. I love what you just said about Bedros saying you suck at this, but then turning it around into, you can have somebody say you suck at it, but that doesn't mean they're going to give up on you, right? It's all mindset, it's attitude. If they see that you're willing to work, you could suck at something, but no one's going to waste their time with someone who sucks at something and gives up or doesn't care. They're going to see someone who sucks at something and is busting their ass to get better, and they're going to want to work with that person.
I agree. Right? And it's being all part about, team. So that's one of the things that I teach. And team isn't together, everyone accomplishes more. That's not true. Because if you put a group of idiots in a room, you're just going to get a bigger idiot result. But it's team is trust, effort, attitude, and mission. And Bedros told me flat out, the reason why I hired you is because you give more effort and you have the best attitude I've ever met. And I was like, what does that mean? He goes, I can teach you. And that's what he does. He's teaching me how to be a 7-figure mastermind guy. But he goes, but what I can't teach you is how to show up, how to give 100%, how to be the best version of you. Cause like I close deals. I close deals because I show up and I'm passionate about stuff. And people, I think today, the one great thing that civilians do have that I'm learning is they know when someone's talking shit or, when it's bullshit.
Yeah.
So when I talk about like the project or LTD or like my coaching, I'm so passionate. Literally, people are like, oh my God, you talk so much. Shut up, take my money. I'll leave you alone. But it's because I have a lifetime that I want to condense into this, because you only have a couple minutes to make an impression, sell whatever it is you're going to do. So my thing is I just come out of the gate hard as fuck and tell people how it is. I don't pull punches. And that's what listeners have to know about me. You either love me or you hate me. I don't grow on people. Like my wife was like, wow, you're a lot. I'm like, I know, but balls to the wall, man. And that's
you're an
how you
acquired taste.
But you know what? Like I said, I tell people you don't know how much time you have. All I know is we have 24 hours today. You could die right now. So did you get up, attack your 4 F-bombs, and are you leaving a legacy? Did you get up like you won the lottery? Did you? Because most people get up like, fuck, we're dealing with the corona, the Rona now, and they don't want to get out of bed. No, get up even earlier, kick more ass, read a book, spend time with your family, and just do good shit. People yell at me because me and my family are walking around. There's nobody out on the streets.
Right.
We do a 2-mile run every day with the dog. We have time to do things. What we're doing is just going back. This coronavirus is setting us back to when you and I were kids.
Yep.
I'm getting ready to pull the horseshoes and lawn darts out and start throwing lawn darts up in the air like we used to.
I know. We've played board games. We've done shit we haven't done in forever. I love it. When I wake, and we all have like our different, you've said everybody has their own battle, right? And I have my specific battles and I identify them clearly and I know what they are. And I have my tactics for each one. One of my tactics for one of my battles, literally every day I wake up, whether it's with the alarm or before the alarm, I used to like wake up and instantly everything I had to do that day, all my problems, everything would just like, that would be the first thing, to him. Literally now I wake up and the first thing I do or say is thank you. Those are the first 2 things that come out of my mouth, my brain, push everything back. And I start every day. The first thought I have is thank you. And then I list the things like thankful for this day, thankful for this opportunity. And that is how it doesn't matter what the hell is going on around me. I have forced myself, I trained myself to wake up. Isn't it amazing? Like when you start the day with that approach, that pitch, something so stupid, so little, costs no money, right? But that's what I do, which is why I love what you do. But back to Bedros saying, you suck at this, but you're going to get better. I promise people to get into the Tom Hanks story because it seems like you've had 2 very successful, influential, good men give you these backhanded compliments. And Tom Hanks, I love the story that you told on somebody else's podcast about, Tom Hanks saying, you're the worst actor that I've come across. Tell that story because I think it's amazing. I think it speaks a lot about you and about him.
All right, fuck you, Tom Hanks. No, I'm kidding. I love Tom. No, what had happened is when we had done the show, there was actually a gentleman by the name of Hugh Middleton who had the role that I slipped into. Max was out there. Max Martini, good friend of ours. Him and Max are very good friends to this day. But this guy was a Blue Squadron lieutenant commander. So he was a savage, big guy. And what had happened is how this happened is there was a ferry coming out that was bringing people out. And what had happened was he was on the next ferry and like the ferry broke down and they needed to get this scene. So Dana Bernetti and I knew each other kind of, we had a lot of similarities, Range Rovers, old trucks, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, hey, I want to try something. I said, okay. So Tom and I, we did this real quick skit with everything. And Tom was awesome. And, as things are going, Hugh got another part. But every time that Paul Greengrass would give me like a line, I'd be like, hi, I'm Ray Cash Care, former, and it just sucked. So finally, Tom and I are doing the scene and we're like, here's Tom's face and I'm right here. And he just looks at me and he goes, God, you were the worst actor I've ever met in my life. He goes, but you were the best I've ever met. And I went to him and I was like, what does that mean? He goes, stop trying to act and just start being you. Because what I've learned is Tom has a script and he covers the key points, but he ad-libs what he wants. He's like a Jackie Gleason. So in that movie, I just started being me. I mean, they cut a lot of shit out, obviously. That's what they do. But when I did that, Tom was like, you are the most authentic, genuine person I've ever met. I mean, he was at my house. Trish met him. He's a great guy. He goes, but stop trying to be something you're not. He goes, bro, you're not going to be an actor growing up as you go on. being able to read scripts unless you get some professional help. And at first I was kind of like, I wanted to say like, fuck you. But then all of a sudden I'm thinking like, wow, this is one of the greatest actors in today's history telling me that just be me. And I've kind of taken that advice from Tom, Mr. Hanks, and I've applied it to everything I do with my mindset. And I think the moral of the story is stop trying to be something you're not and just be the best version of you can be. And I mean, I loved it. And that's the same thing. Like B has said the same thing. You're not, and that's what I tell people. I'm never going to be Bedros Keuilian. I'm never going to be Tom Hanks. But I'll tell you what I'm going to be, the best version of me I can be. And the success train, I'm on the train right now, and it's, hey, get on, get out of the way, or get run the fuck over. And that's what I got out of that. The story that Tom was teaching me, the story or the lesson that B was teaching me is it's not about what you do, it's how you do it. It's about having morals. It's about being genuine to you. Because Tom told me flat out, he goes, bro, if I would have wanted a professional actor, I could have got any actor I wanted to do your part. He wanted SEALs. And he goes, I just want you to be you. Case in point, when we did this one scene, Tom wanted me to do he goes, hey, Ray, what would you do here? And what would you do here? And I'm like all nervous. And I said, this true story. I said, well, Tom, I would do this, this, and this. He goes, then just do it. You lead, I'll follow. So, they cut it all out, but obviously I was checking his limbs for bullet holes and stuff. And that's when you saw Captain Phillips, are you okay? That's all I got. But when it was over with, Tom was like, what did you think? I said, pretty fucking intimidated. He looked at me and he looked around real quick, and Tom's always eating. He's always eating something. I don't know if I call him tapeworm, but he leaned into me and he goes, how do you think I feel going one-on-one with you? And I was like, holy shit, Tom Hanks is intimidated by me.
That's fun.
And it's your presence. So my point is you can be a dominating force, just be you. And that's what I got out of that. So much love and respect to Tom and Bedros, because they were huge and they still are mentors in my life.
Those are not bad mentors to have.
No,
right?
They're not.
Like, I mean, what a difference.
Well, I don't know
who you surround yourself with is freaking everything. Your network, people it's everything.
And true story, when I met Tom Hanks, we're on Dana Bernetti, who was the producer, him and Kevin Spacey said, hey, I want to try something real quick, Ray. And I said, okay. This is how I met Tom Hanks. Swear to God. There's this big crowd of people. He goes, come with me. And as I walk through, I swear to God, Tom is eating something. And he's in his Captain Phillips outfit with the blood and everything. He goes, Ray, I want you to meet Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, this is Ray. He goes, hey, I'm Tom Hanks. I looked at him and went, no fucking shit. That's how I met Tom Hanks. And he just started laughing. I've actually got a picture of us laughing. I tell him jokes all the time. But what a great dude, down to earth and always gave pointers. That's what I've noticed. The most influential people are grateful, not greedy, and they will always help others out that they see or that have that same hunger. So that's what I do. That's what I'm doing now.
Yeah. I love it. Love it. Talk about, before we are completely out of time, I want to talk about some charities you work with and why you work with them. I know Danny Deet's Memorial Fund is one. You want to talk about that one? You want to talk about other things that you do and why you...
Danny Deet's is the main one that I do just because I was so close with Danny. But I mean, I also do, and I wish I could remember, I'm trying to find the name of it. My wife's mother died of breast cancer. I know that's not a military.
Doesn't matter. It's a human thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a human thing. We do a lot with that. And I'm trying to find the one name. We're doing so many good things out there right now. We do things for the for the towers still. Anything first responder related, I'm always doing stuff with. Jason and I are always doing things. And how I give back is whenever I do a trip, I speak all over the country. I will stop into a local police station, fire department, school, and just say, hey, do you guys want me to give a quick speech? And they're like, holy shit. I'm like, yeah, I'll just do it for free. But the Danny Deet's Foundation, breast cancer, I'm starting to help be doing a lot of stuff with the Shriners. But anything that is, first responder related, I know that sounds like a cliche, but I just donate. We donate money, we donate time. We just donated, I'm doing my shirts right now. I'm trying to find
The Steven Stiller.
I think we just raised, it's not much. I mean, it's a couple $100 because I'm small, but obviously I'm going to do that. I'd love to meet that whole crew eventually. But that's what I'm going to start focusing on right now is that charity. But I try to look for the really small charities that are just coming out of the gates. Steven Stiller, they're huge. They're huge. And my contribution, even though I know it's small, they'll still appreciate it. But you name it. If you have any charities, I mean, I'm all about it. My goal is I don't want to just give to one charity. I want to give to as many fucking awesome charities as I can and just contribute to do my part. But if it's military or first responders,
you're in.
Yeah, I'm in. I don't care. That's all I care about. I know it's all, and breast cancer. I'm sorry. I got to say that.
All right. What's something that you really like to talk about, or something you like to do, but nobody ever really asks you about, or nobody really asks you to do?
People never ask me, it sounds crazy, like hobbies or things that, like on a more personal note, like what I like to do when the cameras are off and all that stuff. Right. And it's funny because I don't want to do, like, I'm always on the go. I like taking walks with my family. I like competing with my wife in the gym. And I know people are going to laugh. We like watching reruns of shows together. Friends, and Everybody Loves Raymond. And now the big thing is we try to watch the Animal Planet. When I'm not being, me, I just want to be with the ones that I love. And I want to just kind of hang up the intensity hat and relax. But the problem with me is it's still really hard. I still to this day can't sit and watch a whole movie without getting up. I'm all over the place. But as I get older, I think the one thing I wish people would ask me more is what brings you joy? Because people don't ask that. They're always just like, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. What makes you happy? Getting up every day, being able to spend time with my son's in Seattle, but my son, my daughter, and my wife, and my dog, and my cat. That's my entire universe right now. That's especially in times that we're in right now.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what brings me pleasure, makes me happy, and actually will make me do this. Ready?
Oh my God. Yep. He just fucking smiled.
Yeah. When I talk about them, I do smile. Otherwise.
You do. Yeah. When I asked you about your wife, you lit up. Before we started this, when we talked about your daughter, you lit up. And I love seeing that come out in people. Like it's not hard to tell what people truly center themselves on, but just watch them, and you can feel that, which is cool. I think that's what, no matter how big you are, that's one thing I had to learn too about interviewing people, even like Bedros. I was a little scared shitless to interview him and scared more to walk into his gym. Right. But, then he starts talking about he's going to go take his son on a hike and he has date night. So I thought everybody, when it comes down to it, doesn't matter who you are, you have family that you love, the people you love. And, we're in the apocalypse right now, right? Like everybody is locked down with their families and rediscovering the upsides and downsides of being with their families. We're talking about reconnecting with old things we used to do, but the people who are away from their families, whose kids are like the other side of the country, or others, you're realizing it's all about the people, right? You're realizing, wow, I didn't know. You're learning things about people that maybe were right under your nose and you just missed the whole time because you're so busy.
Yeah.
Or you discover, oh my God, I'm so happy I don't have to deal with that person anymore, right? It's going to be so interesting, right? To see how we come out of this and how relationships have shifted. I think we're going to
come out stronger. In the long run. I think economically, financially, it's going to kick us in the balls. But as far as the foundations of what this country was built on, which is, belief, family, united we stand, divided we fall. I think we're not going to fall. United we stand. We're going to be, I always say now, united we stand, together we conquer. We're going to kick this thing right in the fucking ass. And when we do, we're going to be a stronger planet for it. But it's going to take time, just like anything else, when a brush fire wipes everything out, eventually things regrow. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to grow back fuller, lusher, and we're going to be ready to kick ass. That's what I believe this, not just America, this whole entire planet was put here for, is just to kick ass.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I believe in that fully. All right. One question I absolutely have to ask, American Snippets, we talk about the American dream. That's why we're doing what we're doing, because we don't think the American dream is dead, especially now. I don't think it's dead. I think it's changed. I think it might get harder. Some people are going to come out of this making more money. Some people are going to come out wiped out, have to start all over. But this is the time to center on that American dream, because no matter what's happening, there are still unlimited possibilities in this country. It's so cool what can be done. Even now, there's people tapping into opportunities that never existed for them 2 weeks ago, right? They're taking advantage of things that haven't. But I think the resistance to the concept, when we say American dream, people are like, oh, fuck that shit, it's dead, But that's because their instinct is that they think it has to be the same for everybody. They think there's one definition of the American dream that's supposed to fit everyone, and it doesn't. So that's why I want to ask you, what is your definition, your vision, your version of the American dream? What does it mean to you?
The American dream to me is just one. It starts from the time you wake up, getting up, being grateful, not greedy. It means believing in something greater than yourself. I believe that everything I do is for a greater good. I don't care really who you believe in, who your religious, whatever that is. I believe Jason and I are both Christians. I believe that we were put on this earth to leave a legacy, to reproduce, to provide, God, that's so hard. That's such a hard question, because I see it in my mind. My American dream is, the flag's right here. I bleed red, white, and blue. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I am just, my American dream is already come true because I've already been born and I'm already here. So my American dream is just to keep fighting, give 100% till the day you die, leave a legacy, and hopefully the education and the teachings that you've learned, you've passed on to the next generation, because, I'm hoping that the care legacy carries on, with my son, with my daughter, with their kids, with my grandkids. Hopefully I want my American dreams. I want to live till I'm 150 years old and be the best version of me I can be. Because I don't want to miss anything. I love how things change, sometimes not so much for the good. My American dream is I'm living it. I mean, coronavirus or not, I'm alive. So if you're alive, if you can breathe, then you are the American dream. You are, we're so fortunate. We're in the best. I've been everywhere in this fucking planet. And just believe me, I've been in some hellholes with Jason. People don't know how good they have it. So ladies and gentlemen, you are living the American dream. I am. I'm so grateful to this nation for what it's provided for me. I've bled for this nation, and I'll do it again. No questions asked.
That was fun. That was a good one. I love it. I love it. No, but you know what? I love it. Some people the American dream is this, but I love when people really get into that question and that answer, because it's why we're doing what we do, right? So when we see somebody get into that so much, it's like, more validation for why we're doing this, because it matters. I think it matters. All right. If people want to find you, connect with you, learn about your coaching, hire you to come speak, all that jazz.
So first and foremost, go to www.frogmindset.com. You can find my apparel, my coaching, everything on there. If not, hit me up on Instagram, Ray Cash Care. That's me. And then you can hit me up on I have a personal, but my blue check Facebook is Ray Cash Care, former Navy SEAL. And then I'm on LinkedIn, Cash Care. So you can hit me up on all those things. I answer every every email, every message that you send me, as long as it's in a constructive nature.
I like that tagline there. The ridiculous spam you get is just dumb. All right, man, thank you so much. This has been fun. It's like riding a wild horse, not getting hooked off yet.